Good morning. Uh, I've been meaning to get a video out and I've been super busy, so I didn't. So here I am doing a video because I'm not super busy this morning, except that I'm watching the clock and going, I gotta work in an hour. And I haven't gotten dressed or what the heck is on the floor? Oh, part of the kitty toy. Let's throw that away. Yeah, I'm working on breakfast and all that jazz. So I have young coffee. I got the apple juice. I had a bowl of cereal, and Rice Krispies with blackberries. And I got like a half an inch of leftover ginger ale because that's what I do. Um, Holidays are done. I don't even remember when I did my last video. When did I do my last video? Before New York. Oh, it's been 3 weeks. I see. Oh, so I guess I could talk about New York, couldn't I? I could do that. Could do that. You might actually want to hear about that. So let's just go backwards. Let's do the holidays. I did New Year's Eve was horribly, horribly exciting. I ate pizza and olives, and I don't remember if I drank a bottle of wine or not, and I was in bed by 11. Happy New Year. Hung out with my friend the day after, once he got off of work because he was working third shifts. So that was New Year's. It was just a blip on the radar. Christmas was nice. I hung out with my friend at his family's after he got off work and had a chance to sleep. And yeah, I mean, Christmas was pretty quiet, pretty sedate. That's fine. I worked Christmas Eve and day and New Year's Eve and day because there is, no time off in healthcare, no holidays in healthcare. But a couple of days before Christmas, then my friend Dana and I went to New York for 4 days. We left on the Thursday and came back on the Sunday. And so I spent 2 full days and 2 partial days in the New York. I've learned a few things about New York. I want to be a taxi driver in New York. I totally think I could do it. It looks like all you have to do is be fast, have eyes in the back of your head, and balls of steel. And I think I've got pretty well all of that. I could do it. I could totally do it. So driving in New York was interesting. I drove into downtown Manhattan because we stayed on Lexington and I don't know, something else. We were near Fifth Avenue. So that was really cool. But it's noisy. It's always noisy. It's always noisy. They never shut up. They're always going. And the horns are constantly honking. Like 12:30 on Saturday night, they're honking, still honking. And it doesn't matter how high up you are in the hotel. I was on 15th floor. You hear the honking just like you're down on the ground because all the buildings around you are super tall too. And because they're all hard surface buildings, that noise just goes straight up. So you constantly hear the horns and the honking and the yelling and hey. So I went out, got in Thursday night. We had dinner Thursday night in the hotel bar. It was okay. I had a lovely evening's sleep because I was too tired to hear the honking. That and I had earplugs in. Excuse me. So Friday morning, I got up bright and early, as I do, and got out on the streets about 6:30, and I was at Mass at 7 at the St. Patrick's Cathedral, which was a beautiful church, very beautiful church. There weren't that many there that morning, which was fine by me. And so I got to kind of look around the church a little bit, and I went through some of the little alcoves and saw the different saints and things, lit a candle for my grandmother. I got that one hair. I haven't combed my hair yet today, sorry. They had a really beautiful nativity, minus the baby Jesus, of course, because it wasn't quite Christmas yet. And so I went from there. I went back out on the streets. I found a food cart, got myself some breakfast, and was walking along Fifth Avenue and taking a look at everything. And I stopped in front of a crystal shop. Now remember, this is really early in the morning, so none of the businesses are open yet. And there weren't quite as many people on the streets, but there were a lot. I was really like, what I really found cool was the messenger services that were out. Like the bicycle messengers and the food vendors that would they take like the big rolling baker's carts like you'd see at, say, Subway or any sandwich shop with all the loaves of bread on them. They'd take these big rolling baker's carts and they'd have like tubs like this or bins or something kind of shoved in, and they'd be full of food that they'd be taking to offices. So it wasn't just bakery and pastry. Like I smelled other foods going by too. I could smell the foods. They wouldn't let me have any because they were for somebody else. But no, it was kind of cool. And then the bicycle messengers, and you'd see people like bicycling food and envelopes and boxes and things to businesses. It was really interesting. It was kind of cool to see how transportation interacted with each other. What I've been telling people is watching New York streets between the buses and the taxis and the cars and the pedestrians and the bicyclists. It's like watching a dance. They all seem to weave in and out from each other. And, when people honk their horns, it doesn't seem like they're angry honks. It's just conversational honks. I don't know. I was kind of joking with a friend and said, yeah, it's like they're saying, hi, how are you? I'd like to get to meet you, but I just don't have the time. I'm busy right now. But no, they weren't like, super angry honks like we get in the Midwest where people lay on the horn and you're in trouble because somebody's mama's getting called now. But no, it's just like, somebody stopped honk, somebody went honk. It's like they honk all the time. But yeah, so it was kind of cool to just sit I found a bench in front of a crystal shop, a gem and mineral store. And I just sat on the bench and watched the traffic and watched the people and looked up, because that's what tourists do in New York, is they look up. The regular New Yorkers don't look up. You know why the regular New Yorkers don't look up? It's because they're wearing too many clothes. That's how you can also tell that they're from New York and not a tourist. They're wearing too many clothes. The tourists are not wearing as many clothes as the New Yorkers. They're cold. They look it. But the New Yorkers, all you usually see is like this, because they have big hoods cinched down with a scarf and mittens and gloves and 3 jackets and 5 pants and 6 pairs of boots on, because it's cold, because with all of those skyscrapers there, the wind just cuts through. And it's like Chicago. It's like Kansas. It's like Cleveland, kind of. But the wind just cuts through, and the wind was real bitter that Friday morning when I was there. So, everybody's like walking around like this, and I'm out there in a hoodie, because Wisconsin. So I definitely looked like a tourist in a hoodie. So anyway, I took my breakfast. I went to a food cart and I got like a sausage, egg, and cheese croissant and a bottle of water. And it was like $7. It wasn't bad. And I sat down on this little bench in front of this gem and mineral store and looked kind of through the windows, because it was like 8 o'clock in the morning, I think. And, they weren't open till 10. And it was real pretty, and I kept eyeballing this one gigantic crystal in there. It was a big, like a half geode of citrine, and it was massive. It was like 4 feet tall, and I was calling my friend Angie, showed her a picture of it, and we were like placing bets on how much we thought it was. And I had placed my bet on minimum of 25,000. 25,000. I did go into the shop later on, met the owner. His name is Herman. The crystal itself is from Brazil, and it's 65,000. I walked through the door, and he's immediately trying to like steer me towards things. And all I could say to him was, buddy, I'm just here to look. I promise you I don't have the money to buy anything you've got in here. Well, we'll find something in your price range. My price range is free. What you got? Oh. But he was a very nice guy. He talked with me anyway until, business started to pick up and he had to watch people. But he had a beautiful shop. a lot of really gorgeous showpieces. Like there was a piece of zincite in the back room, and the back room was like nothing had price tags on it in the back room. And it's one of those rooms where you know when you walk through the doorway, if you have to ask a price, you can't afford it. Um, and there was a piece of zincite that was like the size of half of my head. And anybody who doesn't know what zincite is um, it is a production byproduct made in Poland. It's created in Poland, and there's something about the process of smelting something, I can't remember quite what it is, that creates like these really phenomenal little crystals. Well, this particular piece had all these spiky little fingers coming up off of it, and I had asked him a little bit about it, and I said, now is this, I said, this piece here that you have, I said, did it grow like this or did it grow like this? And he says, neither. It grew like this. And he explained how it came out of the chimneys. I can't remember from where, but in Poland. And that's where a lot of the zincite comes from, is Poland. But it was just gorgeous. It was reddish and orangish and pointy and real pretty. And of course, no price tag. And I didn't ask because I can't afford it. But they had other really beautiful pieces in there too. And he had little nuggets, like little $5 nuggets of like quartz and, you know, the piddly stuff that you would usually find in like a rock collector shop, you know, to get your kids started on collecting, you know, little polished nuggets of whatever. So he had a good variety and lots of pretty jewelry, very pretty jewelry. A couple of tiger's eye lamps, like these big bases that are like 3.5 feet tall and made out of little slabs of tiger's eye. And then the tiger's eye lamp itself on top of it. I mean, it's just gorgeous. What are you guys murmuring about over there? Murph, Murph? So anyway, so I stopped and looked in the shop for a while and ate my sandwich before I took off, went to Empire State Building and paid twice as much to go up that thing than I had anticipated because New York is expensive. And I went to the 82nd floor first, and there's an indoor observation area from the 82nd. And then you get back on the elevator and you go up to the 86th, and that's when you go out on the outside observation deck that I think everybody's really familiar with from the movies. And it was so cold, so cold up there. The ice would, like there was ice forming on the fencing that shaped the fencing perfectly. It was just really wild. But you could see all of New York. And I think the thing that really floored me about looking out on New York from up there is it took me a minute to realize that that tiny little structure way out in the middle of the water was the Statue of Liberty. You always think of the Statue of Liberty as like this big, massive construct. But then when you compare it to what's going on in New York around it, like on the land, it is so tiny. It is so little. So little. I got to see One World Trade Center from the observation tower. I also saw it up close. I went up to it later on in my trip. So yeah, I went up Empire and saw all the stuff. And then I continued walking Fifth Avenue, and I saw all kinds of stuff on Fifth Avenue. That same day, later on, I picked up Dana and we hopped the subway, which was fascinating. We went on the subway out to the piers where they send the ferries to go out to see the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island and all that. We took a ferry ride. It was like a 1-hour ferry ride. And we never went on the island with the Statue of Liberty, but honestly, that was okay because we got a really great series of photos of the Statue of Liberty from the water that you'd never be able to get from the land anyway. So that was really cool. Dana was super excited. That was on her list of things to do. It was on mine too. She had a much shorter list than I did. So we saw the Statue of Liberty, came back on shore, and went to a fabulous little Greek family restaurant not too far from Wall Street and had some lovely food. She had something Greek and I had chicken piccata. And then we kind of, cashed in early for the night because, wow, it's cold and tiring, Saturday morning, got up bright and early. I decided I wanted to go see the 9/11 Memorial and Central Park. I made it to the 9/11 Memorial, then I got lost. I got lost because that's what I do. Anyway, 45 minutes in the subway. not on the subway, in the subway I was lost. And a few other things that happened while I was out and about too. And I ended up coming back to the hotel, and I got some ramen noodle soup from the place across from the hotel. Introduced Dana to actual ramen. She seemed to like it. And then we went out that afternoon. We went to the concert. We had a matinee seating for the Paul Winter Consort. It was the 40th anniversary of that winter solstice concert in the St. John the Divine Cathedral. Fabulous concert. It was like 3.5 hours long. Rode a taxi home the night before too, and saw Times Square and Broadway. Rode a taxi to the concert, rode a taxi home from the concert. Yeah, I mean, it was just a lot of fun. Got back, had some dinner, got up Sunday morning, had some breakfast, hit the road, and drove back. And it was a lot of fun. New York was pretty amazing. I saw so much stuff. I didn't see my whole list when I went out. You know, I wanted to see Central Park. I never got there because I got lost. I wanted to go see Rockefeller Plaza. I was too cold and tired to see Rockefeller Plaza. I saw Empire. I saw Statue of Liberty. And I don't remember what my fifth one was now. I don't remember. But, yeah, I mean, it was... Oh, 9/11. I saw that. The Rockettes were too expensive for me to see this trip, even on short notice on a matinee. They were too expensive to see. So I never went down by Radio City Music Hall. I did see where it was from where I was walking on the sidewalks. I could see it down down one of the roads a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it's always going. It's always going. But it was a really cool trip. It was, just hush. I picked up, I must have put them away. Oh, I must have put them, oh no, there they are. I collect playing cards when I go places, so I picked myself up a little deck of playing cards that have photos of different buildings and land and skyline pictures. That's what I was trying to say. I also got a coffee mug that's really awesome. The outside of it has like the skyline picture. It's all in black and white, and it's like the skyline picture. And I think it says New York on the outside, and the skyline pictures are in the letters of New York. And then on the inside, it's printed too. It's really cool. I have a thing for coffee mugs that have printing and stuff inside. But yeah, that was the trip. So it was December wrapped up pretty intense for me. And now we're in January in the doldrums of winter, where we have discovered that Christmas brought us a very lovely spring. Yesterday it was in the 20s and everybody was losing their mind because it was freezing cold outside. And the reason everybody's losing their mind because it's freezing cold outside is because most of this winter has been in the lows of 30s, but honestly has been in the mid to upper 40s and into the 50s. Like by the end of this weekend, I think we're supposed to see 60s. So it's not typical weather. I enjoy it because, I don't like the cold weather. But I also have a respect that this is not normal. This is not okay. Anybody who says that climate change isn't real is smoking something. Probably contributing to the climate change. Because wintertime should not be 40s, 50s, and 60s in January in this area. It really should not be. So even I know that, and I'm new to this area. But the flip side to that is I hurt because the weather's constantly doing this, but I don't hurt the same way I do when it's really super cold outside. So I'll take it, I guess. Do I have an option? Upcoming, I'm doing some more classes with the pagan study group that I'm part of. I asked if I could present little 10 and 15 minute informatives and rituals for the new and the full moons for January, February, March of our group. So I'm going to do that. It's probably, like every other week. I'll present some little 10 or 15 minutes something. Otherwise, I don't think I have much coming up. I think I'm going back to Wisconsin at end of May, early June, because one of my, I don't know what you'd call her, a bonus kid, kind of. I mean, she's not my kid. She's, one of my best friend's kids. And, but, I've known her since before she was a twinkle. She's a good kid, but she's graduating high school, so I want to go watch the graduation and congratulate her in person. But other than that, I don't think I've got anything really on my radar. I'm dating and working and, just existing, putting up with my insane cats. There's one. The other's laying on the table right now. Aren't you? Hi, Mel. Hi. So, yeah. That's all I know. I just want to say hi and let you guys know that I'm still alive. Say Happy New Year. Happy New Year. And, yeah, I guess I see you guys soon. Hopefully I'll stay more on track with videos this year. So, have a good day. Many blessings. Happy New Year. Bye.